good afternoon, everyone. Happy MLK Day. And you know who's out there working? That's right, the postman is out there working today, because I just got a package today from, that's right, Republic Brands, OCB. Shout out to OCB. Thank you guys so much. We are going to see what is inside of this box that they just sent over. I want to show you guys, and let's see what we got. Oh yes, my favorite. Exactly what I need. Boxes on boxes of OCB Slim packs. I was just about out, and so I'm so glad that they just sent these, because now I can restock and know that I am not going to run out of these amazing papers. Not to mention, too, we have the Emerald Cup coming up, and so I'm definitely going to need a lot of these with all that judging that we're going to be doing with all these different flowers. So thank you so much, OCB, for sending that down today. We really appreciate it. These will all get burned, and I can't wait for you guys to send some more. Thanks so much.
Thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us.
It is the High at 9
yeah.
camera.
Good morning, everybody. That's right. It's Tuesday, January 16th, and today is National Without a Scalpel Day. National Fig Newton Day. I know. I'm confused by that too, Todd. I want like without a scalpel. I mean, like, are they?
I'm talking about.
Yeah, the surgery without a scalpel. It just sounds like it's going to hurt.
Without a scalpel.
And you're going to leave lots of scarring. It's also National Fig Newton Day. National Religious Freedom Day, and this is your favorite, Rico, of all the days I think of the year. It's National Nothing Day.
What's that?
National Nothing Day. Big fat nothing. Big old nothing sandwich or a nothing burger. However you like it.
Sure.
Yes. Thank you for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look down below on your screen to see where we live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and on our very own website as well. So thank you to everyone joining us from any one of those platforms. We do appreciate you spending your time with us. But kicking it off today, we have the dope dad himself. That's right, it's Rico Lamitte, who, as you know, they say most men are colorblind, and he happens to be colorblind as well. He suffers from that because he thinks his hat is red, but we all can see that that hat is orange. That's right, it is none other than the dope dad himself, Rico Lamitte.
So there's a couple of things that are flawed with your logic there, Jason. Number one,
what? Nothing. It's nothing day.
Playing the race card here, but
nothing day.
Look at the data.
It's nothing.
Black
day.
men are less than 10% liable to getting color blindness.
Are you saying you're part of that 10%? Is that what you're telling me?
Actual scientific fact. Number one. And then number two is something to do with the way that the color is being transmitted here, because this is 100% red. Mm-hmm. If you saw me in person, you would see that this is 100% red.
Well,
my hat, but it does look orange on the screen, so
it's orange,
yes,
bro.
It is, man.
It's orange. Perception's reality, bro. Perception's reality, Rico. You know that.
Perception. So, go with it.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of
reception is reality.
yes.
Oh boy.
Oh, are you a receiver? Because we're talking about receivership.
I mean, you should see his collar.
So, is it popped?
Just look at his collar, bro. Just look at his collar today.
You got the Steve, Yarrow Kubrin has a Steve Bannon look going on today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not one, not two, maybe even three collars. But speaking of that, then we're gonna go in. I have a little bit of an educational piece today. So it's done by Gordon Satro. Did a good job of breaking down receivership because we've received a lot of questions about what receivership is and are we in the next phase of actual business here in cannabis. So there's a piece in GMR called Cannabis Companies in Receivership. Is it a good opportunity or is it a steep risk? So the current state of cannabis industry, even more so in established markets, folks are running out of money. We've covered a number of large names over the last couple months here on High at 9 News that are of folks that are heading into receivership and after not being able to pay their bills. One of the most prominent names we've talked about recently was Herbal Distribution. And though receivership's a common term in mainstream corporate America, it's fairly new to cannabis. So today we'll be talking about what it means, when and why a company goes into receivership. According to GMR's Gordon Satro, when a cannabis company goes into receivership, it's usually because the company is facing financial distress or has defaulted on debts. So now a third party appointed by a court or a creditor, the receiver, takes control of the company's assets, operations, and finances. The receiver's primary role is to manage the company's affairs in a way that benefits the creditors or stakeholders involved. They might sell off assets, or they might restructure the business, or take other actions to recover funds owed to creditors. Receivership is often seen as a step towards rehabilitating a company or winding it down to pay off debts. Most likely in cannabis, it's probably winding off to pay off debts unless it's a big name. Herbal might see a resurgence. Chances are it will not. It's a legal process that aims to protect the interests of creditors or stakeholders while addressing financial issues that the company is facing. So when they actually have choices when they get in there, and a line of order of the processes too. The first line of order is debt resolution, addressing companies' debts. Then they go into evaluation and strategy. So before implementing certain changes, the receiver conducts a thorough assessment of the company's financial health, operations, market position, potential for recovery, and so on and so forth. Per the article, receivership aims to protect creditors' interests by attempting to secure funds owed to them, and primary focus is satisfying the claims of secured and unsecured creditors other than maximizing shareholder value. So scrolling down, there's a lot of good information in here, but I want to go down to the actual questions here. Is it, when you were talking about cannabis, is this a good opportunity, or should you stay the hell away from cannabis companies in receivership? The key considerations there are, when you're acquiring a distressed company, it carries inherent risks. These could be substantial liabilities, facing operational challenges, encountering resistance from employees, suppliers, customers due to the company's troubled status. Thorough due diligence is essential. And you need to make sure that you're going through the financial health, liabilities, legal issues. Is it actually worth you taking over said company? If you're in a position like Planet 13 and you're just going shopping for assets, it's more of a real estate play. And I want to make sure I ask Yarrow his thoughts on this one too. Would you go into these companies or not? But having a broker that first represents the pitfalls and the opportunities, so you can really weigh out the risk versus the reward in these is key to moving forward. But as we enter Q1 of 2024, we're seeing a lot of new faces in the industry, and a lot of them are behind a lot of known names. And generally that is because folks are coming in and buying companies pennies on the dollar right now. So my question to everybody is, if you're seeing a lot of these, these beat down distressed assets, especially if you are in a more saturated market like California, Washington, or Colorado, would you guys pick up a dispensary on the cheap and roll with it as of right now? So I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High at 9 News. I would love to hear from the rest of the team on this. If you have $500,000 to $1 million, are you dropping that on a retailer right now where we are? Is the risk enough for you?
So I'll take a stab at this. First of all, dopest dad on the orange. First of all, it's dopest dad on the orange street, not the red street, just so you know. The first receivership that I saw was the sale of the Guild dispensary in San Jose back in 2019. So this has been a common method for divesting of cannabis assets for a while. I think we see an uptick in this because of the market maturation and price compression and margin decline. I think, and I was just talking yesterday to the people who did the receivership sale for the herbal assets. They've sold everything but for the lawsuit and a couple of the other components of that business. So I don't see that business coming back. They haven't sold the tech. They haven't sold the pending lawsuits. They've sold everything else. I think receiverships bring with them a certain measure of safety and security in that you have an independent third party who is facilitating that transaction. I think that there's opportunity to buy the dip. If I had between $500,000 and $1 million, I don't know that buying a dispensary in a mature market is where I would put my resources. I do think that I have personally been focused on newer adult use markets and specifically retail in those adult use markets for the last 3 years. And so I've been focused on that frothy exuberance that exists for at least a number of years as these new adult use markets come online. And in mature markets, buyers need to be aware that they're not catching a falling knife. Doesn't matter what you pay for something. It matters what you pay compared with what it's currently worth and whether it's going up or going down. So I think that the receivership process will continue to see play out, specifically because there's this inability for these companies to file bankruptcy. And I don't know that that's where I would put my money. I think because of my position in the industry, I would rather be involved in companies that are pre-seed round, where you get a lot of value for the money you deploy, and where you can pick winners and losers before they're winners or losers. But that's a different position. That's because of who I know, what I know, and where I'm at. And I think investors and capital partners need to understand not just the opportunity, but the limitations of what they should be doing based on their knowledge and their sphere of influence. And sort of, I would never go in sight unseen. So I think some of these dispensaries, there's roll-up play, hold on, and that's exciting.
Yarrow.
Are you seeing like a used car market? Is this like seeing like you're buying a brand new car versus if you're going in for one of these fire sales and getting a dispensary for pennies on the dollar? You got to deal with somebody else's boogers under the seat, right?
That's no, bro. You guys got this all. You guys got this all twisted. You guys got this all twisted. Okay. All so twisted, bro. You guys should be pretzels or maybe playing Twister or something. You guys got it so twisted.
You mean twisted like a joint?
Or that's a whole nother twist too. You know what I mean?
Like a joint.
But here's the reality.
How do you see it, Jason?
Here's the reality of it. If you are someone with buttloads of money and you're just looking to acquire assets, and you have significant funding to do a whole remarketing, rebranding, and whatnot, then these types of assets I think would be extremely attractive, because when you purchase an asset out of receivership, it has absolutely zero debt. It's basically a brand new corporation with all of the infrastructure, pre-existing infrastructure in place. So that can be extremely
basically a shell of what it used to be.
It doesn't matter. Well, first of all, the person that's buying it isn't worried about what it used to be. They're worried about what they can turn it into. And that should be the focus of it, not necessarily what it was and what it did do, because otherwise you'd be living in the past and not the future.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
I'll also say one thing that it's like... Well, the present's a gift, Rico. The present's a gift. And right now, the gift is you can get into a business in a $3+ billion market that you're going to have the opportunity to actually make salespeople, because that's still where you have to make sales. Yes, there's delivery. Yes, there's other kinds of businesses like lounges and stuff like that are reemerging, but like the retail is still where the cannabis gets sold. This is still a big market. It's not the worst opportunity. I think that there's a difference between the opportunities in other markets and other states that are emerging, and I think that's where a lot of focus is. Traditionally, I've been on that end as well, and so I think that there's prioritization in in these assets that are available because of some of the markets that mature or immature. It's like if there's potential in a market and people are leaving that, it's something to look at. I agree with Yarrow. Other markets are exciting, and it's a good place to to stack your chips. But if you're trying to be in this business for another decade and you've already been in it for a decade, then you need to continue the brand, and that continuity of your brand and potentially a retail brand. It means some serious expansion dollars in a place like California. But if you could add on to your already existing business model or bolt on to your already existing business model, it makes a lot of sense. So, don't count out the California retailers just yet, everybody, because we're here. We're California is still the market, and it'll continue.
That's a good way to go.
The timing is right.
Hold on.
The timing is right for folks to get in right now rather than.
I mean,
later on.
It's not a matter of timing; it's a matter of the resources that they have. And what?
That's right.
It's both.
No, it's not. Has nothing to do with timing. No,
because the price is going to swing wildly.
The prices aren't going to swing wildly, bro. These and I don't understand where you come up with this $500,000 or $1 million for these things. Okay, when you're in receivership, it's a bidding. If you have like
$500,000, you've got $1 million burning a hole in your pocket.
It's a bidding. You can get a dispensary in receivership for way less than that, Rico. You don't have to have a $500,000.
But this is what I'm saying. If you have the funds and you were looking to get into the market, is now a good time? That's my question. Is now?
Well,
a good time?
you're asking two totally different questions. Then you were baiting with one question, and now you're asking a totally different question.
Why are you being so critical of your co-host? I mean, it's one thing to the color of his hat, but you woke up on the grumpy bear side of bed.
Not even close.
Right.
Can you guys swap out his coffee with some chamomile tea so we can have a kumbaya? Okay. It's running away right now.
Yarrow, it's because his secret front runner in the political race is dropped out. Vivek is done. Vivek is gone.
I don't know what you're talking about. Ain't no one worried about that, bro. Trump took first place in the Iowa caucus last night. Ain't nobody worried about nothing that you're talking about.
There to begin with. Yeah. Vivek was a hanging Chad, right? So I think I don't want to talk over Todd because Todd was going to say something. But I think there is one thing I would like to add before we segue to this esteemed colleague, which is that I don't think as much about the acquisition cost of the asset so much as I think about, do I have the team in place after the acquisition of that asset to turn that asset around and to maximize the value. So to me, I care less about the cost of a dispensary in distress than I do about, do I have the people, the people capital to run that business the way it deserves to be run in this market and to really optimize, because you can talk square footage, you can talk parking spaces, you can talk number of lights, you can talk genetics, but if you don't have the people, if you don't have the culture of accountability and productivity, and you don't have a very deep bench of folks you can trust, then it doesn't really matter what you pay.
Yeah, not only do you need the people, but you need the capital. It's not just the initial purchase of this received building, but you need the capital to be able to run it successfully, which the person right before you has just failed. Now, I've dealt with several companies here in Nevada who went into receivership and owed me lots of money. So from the debtor standpoint, it sucks because you don't get any money because they always claim, well, we have to pay for this, we have to pay for that. And you're in a long line of people waiting to get 10 cents on every dollar that you're promised, but it never comes because they claim like they don't have the money to do that. And as the receiver, you have to be way more funded than just your initial $500,000 $1 million to buy the deal, because you have to maintain and you have to break down the vendors that you've just screwed over.
No, you don't.
Right? How do you do business with them again?
You don't have to do because you're a brand new corporation. You can start fresh with all of them. That's how it works.
You can start fresh with all of them, but me as a vendor,
here's the thing. Here's the thing.
In to do business.
Vendors are in
new guy.
Vendors are in the business of selling product, and if they have to cut their losses in order to spite their face, they are generally willing to do that.
Bro, I've cut tons of losses to,
See what I'm saying?
Despite my face.
See?
Right.
See what I'm saying? And with no scalpel. With no scalpel, Todd.
Yeah, with no scalpel. That's right.
No lube. No lube.
I don't want to really do business with somebody who takes over and then doesn't pay their bill.
Well, they're not. That's my point. Is if they buy it, they have no bill.
They have the bill. They have the debt.
No. When you buy a business out of receivership, there is zero debt, bro. There is no debt associated with that business. You have a brand new business. There is zero debt associated with that.
It's a clean slate.
As we stated in the article, the receiver is their job to handle all of the debt, make sure everything is settled, and queue it up either to be rehabilitated or to be sold off.
Exactly.
Depending on the share.
Exactly.
I thought it was a good conversation to have. We had a great debate with it, and even though Jason wants to dance around easy questions there,
I didn't dance around
my whole
anything.
thing was like, yo, if you had the money to do it, would you buy a distressed asset in a saturated market? 100% is my answer. 100% I would. 100%. And also, too, if you need some tricks in receivership, I happen to know a few on how you can be first right of receiver in the receivership. So just holler at me. Let me know if you're in the market for stuff Jason,
like this.
he'll teach you how to turn those tricks.
Yeah,
the government just allows for bankruptcy, then there wouldn't be an issue.
You're right on that.
These guys go bankrupt.
But we're so far.
Well, they do allow for it. They do allow for it.
Hold on. We got to go to a commercial. We're going to be back. We got to go to a commercial. We're going to be back, you guys. Get ready for the 20-year anniversary celebration of the Emerald Cup. The Emerald Cup will be held at the Henry J. Kaiser Center for the Arts in downtown Oakland, May 4th and 5th. Get your tickets now for best pricing. Cannabis categories include flower, pre-rolls, solventless concentrates, solvent concentrates, cartridges, edibles, topicals, tinctures, and alternative cannabinoids. So enter early for your chance to be a winner at the 20-year anniversary Emerald Cup competition. Exactly. See, I'm with you. I'm with you on that, Yarrow. If we got billionaires behind me, we're buying dips. That's right. All of them.
Yeah, he is. Jason Beck, the king of buying dips.
That's right. All of them.
You know what? He's also known for smoking the best weed in the world, and his undying support for despots who think that they're going to
contender number one.
This very White House.
Contender number one.
The very White House they were going against. But we're not going to talk about that.
Pretender number one.
Pretenders.
He doesn't need to pretend when he's winning number one. Just saying.
Makes me really not want to go to Iowa.
I don't even know who you're talking about, but I'm bringing to the stage right now Jason Beck.
Oh, yeah. Good morning, everybody. That's right. Iowa caucus, man. Make sure you Iowa caucused, I guess, because the votes came in. And that's right. You know who won. Even if you hate to admit it, you know who won. But nonetheless, my story has absolutely nothing to do with that.
Stolen election.
No, stop it. Only the Democrats do that.
It's rigged.
Yeah. But nonetheless, you guys, oh, man, let me tell you what was really going on. Because out there in Oklahoma, nearly 9,000 illegal marijuana operations shut down, the Attorney General says. That's right. Lots of changes are coming to the marijuana industry in Oklahoma, especially for those who are growing and selling it illegally. 2 News reported in November when Oklahoma Attorney General's Crime Task Force, in partnership with Wagner County, found more than 72,000 pounds of black market weed at a Porter business. 2 weeks after that, the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics seized a 14-building illegal marijuana compound in Locust Grove. It's a cause for concern, the state agencies, but also people who live near them, like Kelly Mishler, in quotes. I'm all for medical marijuana, Mishler said. I'm just not into people coming in here from other countries, and there are a lot of them. Those who work in the marijuana industry told 2 News it's also hurting grows and dispensaries that are doing it the right way. Oklahoma Attorney General Genter Drummond said this time last year, Oklahoma had more than 12,000 illegal weed operations. Now there's less than 3,000. Many of them are operated by straw owners. A straw owner is often paid to be listed on the license as the business owner, so they'll pass the background check and meet Oklahoma's residency requirement, but aren't involved in the business, end quote. Folks that makes you complicit in the crime, I will put you in prison, Drummond said. Drummond said no fewer than 10,000 illegal immigrants in Oklahoma are directly involved in illegal marijuana, fentanyl distribution, and human sex trafficking industries. He said in the year ahead, it's going to be contingent on local law enforcement, the Oklahoma Medical Marijuana Authority, and state agencies to put an end to illegal marijuana in Oklahoma. In quotes, everybody is coalescing to become an organized anti-crime task force in Oklahoma, and it's gotten great results, DeMond said. And if you or someone you know believes there is an illegal weed operation near you, the Attorney General's office has set up an anonymous tip line so it can be reported. Well, Oklahoma, Trap City, USA. Man, oh man, and they are encouraging the snitching out in Oklahoma. What do you guys have to say about this? This is Jason Beck for the High at 9 News. What do you guys think?
Gets good.
I think it's about to be a rough year for Oklahoma. That's for sure.
Do you buy this 9,000 illegal cultivations have been dismantled?
Yes.
You believe that?
That's a big number.
That's a big number.
I mean,
it's a big number.
Oklahoma's kind of a big state, and there's a lot of land, and cannabis went gangbusters there. So yeah, I mean, is it accurate? I don't know. Do I believe it?
Like 10,000 licenses.
Yeah. Do I believe it? Yes. Is it legit? I mean, I don't know the exact number, but I can imagine that it's over 10,000 for sure. 3,000 now, maybe. I think a lot of it has to do with also market flexibility over the last couple of years. I mean, the prices started to drop, so maybe people got out then. But like Oklahoma is just, they're growing a lot of cannabis there. They're growing a lot of cannabis. So having these guys go, get taken down or get shut down, I mean, does it mean that the cannabis is going to stop growing? I doubt it. It's just more of now that's how they're going to be able to track the diversion and get their, whatever their quotas or whatever the local law enforcement in Oklahoma it gets graded by. But yeah, I mean, it's a challenge. This is why that we need this federal legalization. This is why we need descheduling. This is the exact reason why I say on this show every week that just free the plant, free the tea, and we won't have any issues. We won't have synthetic cannabinoids being created. We won't have this. Well, yeah, but not as much, right? Not as much because the price of Delta 9 distillate will go way down, Todd. So it'll take out the synthetic cannabinoid market because
help you as someone who produces Delta 9.
It helps me. No, it helps me. It helps me a lot because I don't want to fight the synthetic cannabinoids on the market. I'd much rather just be a proponent for freeing THC in general or descheduling it so that we could actually have a real agricultural business model instead of now a pharmaceutical synthetic model.
So free the plant.
Can you survive with lower prices? Well, if you can, why don't you just lower your prices?
I think that of course you can survive because scaling will help you survive. But it's like there's already so much weed being grown. Why do we have to derive these products from other cannabinoids like CBD?
I agree with you. I'm just I agree with you, but I'm just saying
free
I don't
the plant.
Know the solution.
Free the plant and weed for the people. What troubled me about this article, again, through my real estate lens, was they seized property. It says that they seized a property that had like 14 buildings on it or something like that. And I think that is a very, very slippery slope when we start talking about asset forfeiture. It doesn't even sound like I don't know that property owner was involved in that grow. I don't know if they've proved that beyond a reasonable doubt. I think that when the government comes in, it's one thing to yank a license, which is quote unquote a privilege. But when you start taking away people's private property bundle of rights, like a fee simple interest in real estate, I get a little hyphy.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Would you argue that this whole initiative to take down 9,000 plus, whether what that number is erroneous or not, do you think this is taking weed away from the people? Would you argue that?
It's taking weed away from the bodegas in New York for smugglers who don't want to have to travel all the way to Cali to get the good, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think probably there was a lot of pressure on a federal level for them to clean up their act and be a lot less loosey-goosey than they've been in the past.
So you're saying that
they made their own bed.
These agencies,
they created this this problem, and number one by pretty much like making the licenses was like $2,500 a pop right out the gate. It seemed like the number that it amounted to, I think it was like $10 million. It seemed like a pet project for whoever put that law forward. And then they did not have to have COAs. They didn't have to have a lot of the guardrails that other markets had. And now, like, the final blow to what they thought was going to be somewhat of a decent market, like they don't want to legalize. So do you think like this is the only thing left that they can do to combat the trap is just go after all these illegal operations and just try to televise it? Like, what's going on here?
I think they're
it's definitely a deterrent.
They're playing a real game out there in Oklahoma of whack-a-mole. This is all whack-a-mole, bro. This is all whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They try to open it up like the Sooner State does, and then they quickly realize that they can't unleash the American dream in the cannabis industry, because this is what happens, and so they had to like work backwards, right. From their normal kind of operating procedures to stop that. But I mean, that's what it is, right? It's like you do these things, and you're like, hey, shotgun approach. This is a capitalist market. Come in here and do your business. Just pay the fee. This is exactly what's going to happen. But then conversely, on the limited market side, you have a lot of those struggling businesses bringing in sometimes product that's not cultivated in that state so that they can commence their commerce. That's the problem. Is like, again, this is just part of the stupid. It's just dumb. It's like the rules are hamstringing the businesses, so they're making these unadvised, deals and opportunities come to fruition because of the restrictions, and then they're in trouble. So it's like, it's just doesn't make sense to me. It's like, let's just do this in a smart, calculated way where the first step is descheduling cannabis. The next step is commencing business across the country like normal. It just doesn't, I don't know how that doesn't make sense to, lawmakers, but that's why I'm not a lawmaker.
Well, and before we move on, Jason, I have a question for you. You know the Nike shoe box? Mm-hmm. Every drug dealer knows the
orange one, right? The orange one, or like the Jordan?
The one like your hat? Right? The one like your hat?
He's going to hold it up. He's going to hold it
orange, like this. This is what orange looks like.
It looks like yellow.
This is a Nike gift card.
That's yellow, bro.
This is what orange looks like in your camera. Right there.
You got some lighting
so my hat is red.
No. Where's my Bronco hat?
That's
yellow.
Brand
new Nike gift card.
That's yellow.
This should be orange. It's not coming through as orange.
Yellow.
My hat is red.
Your hat's red.
It's not my fault. No, Todd's hat is red. Todd's hat is red. Exactly. Exactly. And speaking of red hats, we're gonna roll right into the red-headed man himself. That's right, Mr. Todd Denkin. He is the founder of the Smogoverse, where you can get all of your digital dank, and he also founded Digipath Labs in Las Vegas, Nevada, where if you are a cultivator in Las Vegas, that is where you should be taking your weed to be tested to make sure that it's quality assured by Mr. Todd Denkin. Sure. That's right, the voice. It is none other than Mr. Todd Denkin.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. My story today is about some research finally being done on cannabis, and an interesting one. How much cannabis do you need in order to lower your golf score by 10 strokes? A new weed golf study has been released. The question is, does cannabis catalyze superhuman feats or induce sluggishness? From couch-lock stereotypes to unmatched creativity, popular perspectives spin both directions. As legal access expands, the question holds big implications for policies restricting adult use. Yet while many leagues uphold blanket bans, research remains preliminary and contentious, exploring marijuana's actual impact across consumption levels. On one extreme, prohibitionist holdouts insist no amount leaves capabilities fully intact, branding the plant an inherent performance inhibitor, warranting strict rules. The advocate of common sense caution towards intoxication, eyeing impairment rather than potential tools for growth, hiding behind social stigma, or just say no. Conversely, some enthusiasts evangelize enhanced outcomes in athletics, music, or other arenas, from disinhibiting anxiety, easing injuries, inspiring practice, and unlinking repetitive thought loops, or just say yes. Golf attracts scientific performance analysis for good reason. The sport encompasses a range of athletic variables, allowing granular measurement. Consistently contending requires harnessing physical power, finesse strategic course management, and steely concentration across hours of sustained mental stamina. Precise ball striking relies on refined technique and coordination, where microscopic errors balloon scores rapidly. Let's measure mere rotational deviations, dictating scores rising exponentially. Moreover, each hole changes angle, terrain, and hazards, testing adaptability. It is a mental and physical gauntlet running without pause. So does weed improve your golf game? Well, this exploratory research recruited 3 golfers across different skill levels and had them play completely sober to establish performance baselines. They had 5 drives to measure distance, 5 approach shots checking accuracy, and took 5 putts documenting consistency. After getting a clean bill of health, participants then consumed measured THC dosages via vape pens, starting at around 6 milligrams. They retested golf skills at set intervals as intoxication levels increased incrementally up to 50 milligrams of total intake. Early doses showed cannabis decreasing inhibition as predicted, improving driving distance, but hindering fine motor control. Testers pushed swing speeds faster, while precision suffered slightly on touch shots and putting. Essentially, some skills enhanced by lowering overthinking and anxiety with complex hand-eye-body calibrations declined from chemical interference. Golf grew more adventurous and fun, but extra effort required mitigating focus lapses. Then, around 16 to 18 milligrams, they call that the golden zone because it emerged. All participants described entering immersive flow states with elevated euphoria, empowering supreme presence, skill and focus, unified, assuring both power and accuracy. Athletic grace moved seamlessly without doubting, internal chatter disturbing perfectionism. Testers reported effortlessly tapping innate talent and repetitions without consciously recalling every micro movement, or they called it, being in the zone. But pushing further, expecting linearly better performance, issues cascaded by 50 milligrams total THC. All golfers at this level felt functionality compromised by intensifying fatigue and impaired motor function on the golf course. Attention drifted, motivation dipped, complications snowballed. Simple routines became puzzles too onerous to untangle. They needed assistance identifying their equipment, and aimless wanderings cut tests short. Function followed form into dysfunction. While still preliminary, these results mirror expectations. Some cannabis compounds temporarily improve mood, health, or concentration in reasonable moderation, benefiting performance depending on fitness demands. But in excess, psychedelic intensity human operate optimally without added stimulation. Dose and mindset remain key. One can claim no universal boon or blockade solely attributable to cannabis. And with momentum carrying cannabis legalization forward, now that public opinion, state laws, and economic forces unite behind reform, the need for impartial performance research grows urgent as prohibition walls crumble. Predictable calls to regulate adult access through practical guardrails rise in tandem. The science lag must catch up, supplying evidence, separating reefer madness rhetoric about blanket impairment from realistic nuance across situations and intake levels. This goes on to talk about how we need other testing in other areas, and they want to answer the questions: what dosage ranges appear assisting some performance facets while hindering others? Do patterns emerge around optimal duration and delivery methods? How do impacts vary across psychologies, metabolisms, and tolerance levels? And only by grasping cannabis complexity beyond monolithic framing and society structure environments, facilitating positives, mitigating risks, given the inherent impossibility enforcing universal prohibition without immense collateral oppression. So again, this goes on and talks about the importance of testing and using basic tests, basic daily activities to answer these problems and to really lighten the load for the prohibitionist who says none of this is good for anybody. From anxiety relief and creative inspiration to recreational enhancement with inherent psychological ceiling constraints, cannabis defies framing as just a toxic vice or panacea. Its organic chemical cocktail facilitates experiences unique across batches and bioindividuality. Thus, knowledge around particular effects empowers both industries, providing products safely alongside consumers navigating choices wisely. While still extremely preliminary, this budding frontier of sober data, investigating cannabis through objective tests, delivering multiple risk-benefit dimensions, promises destigmatization. Thank you very much. As education, the impeding market requires no less than full illumination, bloom unrestrained by residual superstitions rooted in propaganda. And that pure light beams brighter when science leads the way. So let's do some scientific research and let's figure out, is it good or is it bad? What do you guys think? I'm Todd Denkin with High at 9 News.
I know Yarrow has a dad joke. Yarrow has a dad joke.
I played golf. I don't know. I played golf on Sunday, and I smoked a couple joints, and I played very well.
So. I mean, I got some dad jokes. I mean, when you're on the green, you're on the green. I mean, for me, I only play mini golf because I'm vertically challenged, and it's me against the windmill.
Is that because you can't find long enough clubs, Yarrow?
They don't make them in my size. I had to have them customized. And, being in real estate, I'm sure my net worth would be doubled if I knew how to play conventional golf. But growing up in San Francisco, that wasn't like a thing. My dad wasn't taking me anywhere that included a golf course. I think a little bit of cannabis.
So you're saying, are you saying that you're a disenfranchised childhood, basically? You're blaming your parents for your lack of golf game?
No, bro. Bill Krutzman doesn't play golf, bro.
Bill Krutzman.
we didn't grow up in a neighborhood that included any golf courses. That's for sure.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised.
But I think the takeaway here is not as golf specific as the article. I think the takeaway is that a little bit of cannabis releases inhibitions and can get people out of their head, and a lot of cannabis is probably not so great for athletic performance.
I mean, I disagree with that completely, Yarrow. And it's okay. We understand you grew up with Bob Weir, not John Daly. It's okay. We get it. But let's look at Sha'Carri. Let's look at Sha'Carri Richardson.
That's right.
Let's look at all of the athletes that smoke cannabis.
That's right.
Michael Phelps, exactly perfect example.
I think Michael Phelps is probably the only one you guys could use in this analogy.
But Saman,
no way.
You're conflating using cannabis while you're not engaged in your athletic activity.
How do you know?
Because Phelps
because you can't swim and smoke a weed, bro.
The joint will go out. Okay.
Yeah. But did he smoke before the race? Let's get real. Come on.
An edible.
But you could be.
I've seen some.
Hold on, Saman. Hold on. You could actually be swinging a golf club while you're hitting a joint or a blunt at the same time.
100%.
At the same damn time.
Big enough that I can hit the ball with it while I'm smoking it. Hit on the blunt and then bash the ball.
I'm gonna say this. It's not about the smoking the weed at the moment of impact on the ball or whatever. It's that you're in the mindset, right? It's about the mindset, the state of mind, the calmness, the focus. That's what these athletes are using cannabis for. It's to get into the zone. And when you're in the zone, amazing things can happen. I really think that's more what this is. And neurologically speaking, I'm sure that there's so much more that we need to actually recover data wise, but there's definitely some people out there that can help us out. Maybe we come back to this story. Maybe we do a part 2 after we talk to some fancy neurologists with some letters.
I'm a fancy neurologist on Tuesdays. I don't know if you knew that. And the thing that I'm really trying to stress here is not that I think that cannabis is detrimental to athletic performance, but I think we really need to tether our conversation to the notion that cannabis is not a performance-enhancing drug and therefore should be allowed for all athletes. And so I don't want to say that it's a performance.
I like that. No, I like that.
I believe that all athletes should be able to do what they do when they're off the clock, just like anybody else, and to be able to use it for rest, recuperation, in the zone, like you said. And so I think, look, we were having these problems with the NFL. They're only giving $500,000 to CBD research. It's only the MMA that's finally allowing cannabis. The International, Athletics Association is still saying that it's a bad thing.
Yeah, the UFC and the NBA.
What happened to disc golf? Whatever ever happened to frisbee?
Well, that golf? You have to be high. That's a requirement. That's a requisite
golf game.
It's a tall boy and a joint to play the game.
Don't they have glow in the dark golf too? I think
that's some West Hollywood. That's some West Hollywood shit, Jason.
No. They have like little glow stick balls.
People of color aren't going to be playing no games with a bunch of white boys in the dark. Just saying.
Oh God! You know what? on that, we're going to a commercial. We're going to be right back. All this craziness from Rico today.
Sounds like a trap.
Oh man, that was weird. Hey, you America. Do I look like Sean Connery? Good morning, America. Saman Razani coming to you live from sunny Los Angeles, California with the one and only highest host, Mr. Jason Beck, smoking on the best weed in the world. Did you know that we have an audio-only version of our podcast? You can find it on Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. No excuses in 2024. If you haven't checked us out, check it out now. And also, check out what the Prophet's doing in 2024.
The Control Tower from Highly Educated has perfected the dab. Utilizing the concept of thin film evaporation, you can waste none of it and taste all of it. The micro texture of the SE pillar increases nucleation at elevated temperatures. And with the tower propelling at 2,600 RPMs, it's certainly the most efficient dab experience to date. The Control Tower from Highly Educated. Oh yeah, stop whatever you're doing. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And all of the stories that we cover on today's news, you can read directly on our website at www.high9news.com. Check them out.
I'm Jason Beck, and this is Smoky Vanilla. And if you want to feel as good as I look, then you need to get yourself a stretch and smoke with Smoky Vanilla.
That's right, baby. I'm Smoky Vanilla with my background in kinesiology. I'm a sports massage therapist and stretch coach. I focus mostly on athletes who have chronic pain or injury due to their sport, or the legends of the chronic in the game, baby.
Oh, yeah, you know what it is. We just stretched, and now we're gonna smoke, because you know what it is.
That's right. I love intuitively creating a session based on the individual I'm working with. We'll go through a few assessments, look at the past health history, injury, or anything that's still affecting you today, and create a customized session just for you. Let's go.
Cute.
Up next, we got a fellow dope dad, 15-year industry vet who's an award-winning solvent extraction pioneer and a current focus on helping menopausal women say hello, but also hi.
Hello.
Again. Y'all know who it is. Saman Razani.
Hello, beautiful humanoids. It's Tuesday, January 16th, and today is the day where we're going to talk about more cannabis being grown in Oregon. Big surprise there. This one is coming to us from In the News, OPB. Struggling with oversaturation, Oregon's cannabis industry calls for new restrictions. Leaders of Oregon's cannabis industry are asking the state to permanently restrict the number of new marijuana businesses. To date, Oregon has approved over 3,000 licenses for farming, processing, or sale of marijuana. Industry advocates say since businesses can't export to other states, that's far more than what their customers need. there are so many businesses competing for the same amount of market share that it's just not feasible, said Mike Getlin, the board chair of the Cannabis Industry Alliance of Oregon. Since June of 2018, a series of legislative and informal moratoriums have stopped additional licensure. However, the version that's currently in place is set to expire this April. The Oregon Liquor and Cannabis Commission said that if that happens, it would have to start processing applications again, and the agency doesn't believe it's in the legal position to create its own pause. Now, Getlin is calling on state lawmakers to take action. He's asking them to prevent new licensure until there is significant population growth. The proposal would require that before any new licenses are issued, there is less than one license for every 7,500 smoking-age adults in Oregon. For processing and wholesale licenses, this would need to be below 1 in 12,500. Getlin said that the state is far above the threshold right now. He said this change would stop the current overcrowding, but it will prevent things from getting worse. Wouldn't stop the current overcrowding, but it would prevent things from getting worse. What we're fighting for is not to fix the Oregon system, said Getlin. It is simply to not accidentally have a big old knife stuck in its heart. Under the bill, marijuana businesses could still sell and purchase to existing licenses. As part of House Bill 2515, the proposal died in committee last year. Getlin said he hopes a bill with similar language makes it across the finish line this year's legislative session. And that's the story coming out of Oregon. What do you guys think of this? Business owners going to the government and asking them to, restrict or create policy to stop businesses from submitting applications. What do you guys think?
Just more of the same.
Exactly.
It's more of the same. Like more and more markets are having to deal with bad policy moves that they made in the past, and it's coming back to bite them. Everybody's hurting because of it.
Conceptually, I get it makes sense, but also, isn't it a little counterintuitive? It's like, look, this is a free market. We're supposed to be able to, make commerce and start a business and do what we need to do. Is it fair for operators in that state who are struggling to ask the state for legislative assistance in restricting the applicants and the growth of the industry? I mean, to me, I'm very torn on this one because it makes sense. It also is like, do you just create your own cliquish kind of situation in these states where it's now impossible for somebody else to come in, even if they're a really good cultivator or a really good business operator in another state, and let's just say that they have an expansion idea into said state that's restricting the licensure. Is that fair? I mean, is fair even the right word to use? Are we concerned about fairness? Are we more concerned about just bringing down this house of cards in this industry? So I don't know. I mean, it's a really tough one.
At this point, I think you got to choose the latter, right? Because fairness is out the window when everybody's struggling. Right. It's not just select communities anymore. That was my argument that I started making last year. Like, we need to stop talking about social equity, start talking about reparations. Y'all really want to solve some of these community issues? Like, get up off that shit. Everybody's hurting.
Or Oregon just to me seems like the one state that really has a handle on their legislators, and we saw this with the recent Todd. You remember the aspergillus situation where they basically froze a bunch of the batches and wouldn't let them sell it because of the aspergillus contamination that they found. I mean, the business owners were able to sell that cannabis, if I'm not mistaken, at the end of that time period, which was just recently expired. And it's like, I don't think the government can do much in those situations, but that's kind of the point. It's like, what power are we giving to the government to actually control what we do? And do they have the control, or are we in a better position to control what we do, and we're just failing at that as operators?
So I have two thoughts. The first is, it's different if the government restricts licenses on its own versus listening to the cries of industry if industry is asking for it. And the second thing is, when you base license types on a certain number of cannabis users per capita, I will always question that data because I don't think all of the cannabis users are going to be transparent in sharing their lifestyle with somebody who's collecting information.
I think it says smoking age, so of legal smoking age, so 18 or 21 or whatever that is. So, you know, I think that's a very interesting way to actually come up with some equation on how to license for cannabis. I've not heard of like a per capita equation be presented before. So this was interesting to me. Has anyone seen that anywhere else?
Not really. This is a new one. This is a new one.
I've seen that in Sonoma County in Santa Rosa when they were thinking about how many dispensaries to allow, and they were trying to extrapolate what percentage of the population used cannabis and therefore how many dispensaries should be allowed. And unfortunately, I think there's actually a good argument that Santa Rosa has allowed for too many dispensaries, even though, like you, Saman, I'm a big free market guy. If you've got 30 plus dispensaries in the pipeline for a town of that geographic and population size, at some point, you know, everybody's just fighting for a more limited slice of the pie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
that's been the Oregon market since the beginning.
Here in Vegas. Yeah.
That's been how Oregon has since the beginning. You know what I mean? Like that's been the status quo. It's always been fight for your life up there. And then meanwhile, while you know that was where the market really plummeted first too, where you started to see, you know, really like crazy rock bottom prices on flower coming out of Oregon before it hit even California.
Look, in Vegas when they were giving out licensing, you know, why would one guy get 7 licenses and the next guy get 0, right? So it definitely happens. The big guys, right, lobby to the state and say, look, we're struggling here. We can't make enough money. Don't give out any more licenses. But that's the story that they give, right? The consumer wants choices. Consumer wants more dispensaries. You know, there's a Starbucks on every corner. Why shouldn't there be a dispensary?
Well, you know, that's a great point. I mean, it's so fascinating to watch this all unfold. I count myself very fortunate to be at the nucleus of this moment in time and to be able to watch it, because it's going to look so much different in 10 years. Todd, it's definitely going to look more like a Starbucks situation. And we'll see these oligopolies kind of emerge, right? We're going to see that 100% play it. Yeah, absolutely.
They're already emerging. Yeah, for sure.
Fascinating stuff.
I think Rico, he said, you know, at the very beginning, you know, more of the same. That's what this industry is about. You know, it's who's ever got the gold rules. And that's what's happening.
That's right. And we are way over time. We got to keep this train rolling. We're going to roll right on in to Mr. Yarrow Kubrin. He is the Sonoma man. That's right. Up there in the 707, who does real estate. Sometimes he'll do some cannabis, and every once in an even greater while, when there's some money on the table, there'll be some cannabis real estate on the table as well. That's right. It's none other than Mr. Yarrow Kubrin.
Hey, good morning. High at 9 viewers. Tuesday morning, January 6th. I've got a bit of a lengthy article. Luckily, I've already consumed most of a full pot of French press, so I can probably blast through it pretty quickly. But I think this is an exciting one. So without further ado, let's just dive right into it, because I love this location, I love this state, and I love its history in cannabis. Marijuana legalization among top legislative priorities for Hawaii's Senate majority. As Hawaii's new legislative season kicks off this week, Democrats in control of the Senate say that legalizing marijuana for adults remains a top policy priority for the new year, framing the reform as a means to boost the state's economy. The Senate majority announced their legislative priorities in a release last week, listing cannabis legalization among a host of other issues around emergency preparedness, workforce development, education, natural resources, and housing. The marijuana mention appears in a section about economic development and infrastructure. The Senate remains committed to diversifying and expanding Hawaii's economy, as well as improving infrastructure throughout the state, the document says. In 2024, the Senate will focus on utilizing private-public partnerships and off-balance sheet financing proposed by the Department of Budget and Finance to identify alternative revenue streams for programs and projects, increasing investment in repairs of state facilities on each island, exploring renting out vacant state-controlled facilities to generate revenue, investing in emerging industries to diversify the economy, such as film and technology, improving access to potable water, improving transit-oriented development infrastructure, improving and maintaining aging school structures, expanding alternative energy infrastructure through the installation of electric vehicle charging stations and the wheeling of electricity, exploring energy alternatives for self-sufficiency, funding new jails, oh, great, prisoners and reentry programs like that, and legalizing adult use recreational cannabis. The comments from the Senate leadership came on the heels of a revised draft legalization bill submitted to lawmakers earlier this month by Attorney General Ann Lopez. Lopez emphasized when announcing the bill that she does not support the legalization of adult use cannabis. Does not support it, though her office said it will also not oppose passage of cannabis legalization as long as it contains certain key provisions. Last year, the Senate passed a separate legalization bill that has stalled in the House, but legislators and Lopez herself have signaled that 2024 may be the year that legalization becomes law. I've changed our position from opposition to that train has left the station, Lopez said at a confirmation hearing last year. This could well be the year Hawaii listens to voters and replaces cannabis prohibition with legalization and regulation, Karen O'Keefe, director of the state policies for the Marijuana Policy Project, told Marijuana Moment. The Hawaii State Senate continues to prioritize this important opportunity to foster liberty, justice, and economic growth. And the legislature now has a comprehensive vehicle drafted by the AG that can serve as a starting point. Nikos Leverens of the Drug Policy Forum of Hawaii and the Hawaii Health and Harm Reduction Center said in an email to Marijuana Moment that the announcement from Senate Democrats recognizes the potential for adult use cannabis sales to bring in needed tax revenue. But he warned that Lopez's latest legalization bill is problematic insofar as it apportions future proceeds to special funds rather than leaving spending to the legislature. The 316-page measure from the Attorney General would create and direct tax revenue to a number of special funds, including around cannabis regulation, social equity, public health and education, law enforcement, and nuisance abatement. Behavioral health treatment programs, youth programs, school facility improvements, social equity programs, and science-based public education and research can all benefit from the additional revenue, Leverand said. Yet the legislature should generally have the discretion to use revenues according to its year-to-year budget priorities. He also warned against excessive regulations, which he said could blunt the economic benefits of legalization. The current medical cannabis and industrial hemp sectors highlight the economic shortcomings of excessive regulation and bureaucratic resistance to making needed adjustments. O'Keefe at MPP said the bill drafted by Lopez's office needs revisions to avoid creating Prohibition 2.0. Thank you very much. Pointing to the rules like safe storage and a strict THC driving limit that doesn't necessarily suggest impairment. Most legalization laws include modest civil fines for minor violations. In contrast, the AG drafted bill imposes harsh criminal penalties for anything but strict compliance. She said, an elderly couple who live alone would face up to a year in jail if they store their cannabis in a glass jar they can open instead of a sealed, child-resistant, and resealable package with original labels. Meanwhile, an unscientific per se standard will ensnare sober drivers long after impairment wears off. In November, the AG's office defended an earlier version of the legislation it put forward earlier that month after Honolulu prosecuting attorney Steve Alm said the law enforcement are firmly against legalizing marijuana in general and Lopez's plan specifically. So I can go on and on. We are way over time. There's about 5 more paragraphs to this article, but I think I would like to open this up instead to my fellow guests and panelists. I'd like to know what you guys think about cannabis in Hawaii.
The Pakalolo.
It's shocking that it's such a hassle down in Hawaii, where they're pretty liberal about most everything. I think it's shocking.
I totally agree with you. I mean, and it's also shocking to me the fact that they're focusing on all of these different things when really they need to be focusing on rebuilding Hawaii and getting these people their land back that their houses burned down on.
Yeah.
And that should be the focus.
Right, yeah.
And meanwhile, they're out there with all these other bells and whistles trying to dangle as distractions in people's face when they're not taking care of the real work that the people need.
Yeah, that's definitely true. It's super sad. It's super sad what's going on in Hawaii. I mean, I have some friends in Maui that were affected by the Lahaina fires, and now they're still not secure. They're still kind of just like, moving around, and it's a terrible situation on that island and just in general. But with cannabis, it's like, as you said, Todd, this is ridiculous. They have such worse problems in Hawaii than cannabis. I mean, they have like real serious hard drug problems in Hawaii that it just doesn't make any sense. It's like, push this, push this plant, push the benefits. I mean, you can reverse some of these long standing addictions, if you treat people with high doses of THC, for sure. It's just something that it's just counterintuitive, but I think that it's obvious that their kind of whole entire society has been infiltrated with way more of like the mainland-esque kind of way of dealing and governing people. And you mentioned something like some of that money was going to fund more prisons and stuff like that, right, Yarrow? Yeah, of course. What do they want? They want to just lock us up. They want to make us actual slaves so that we can work for them and they can have huge contracts, and they can reap the benefits of hardworking indentured servants that are serving time in these private prisons. And it's a real serious problems.
Like America.
I mean, we have Luke on the show many days a week. It's like, this is something that everyone has to open their eyes to. They have to wake up, or else it's going to be us behind those bars one day, pumping out the license plates for the state.
So it troubles me that this Democratic AG is such a pain in the hindquarters, and
in the patootie,
and also in the patutu, in the tuchus, in the rear quarter. So the other thing that comes to mind for me is that Hawaii is to cannabis like Napa or Sonoma is to grapes, and it has a history that deserves to be preserved and celebrated and elevated. And so there is this contribution on both the national and global stage for the cannabis that has historically been produced in Hawaii. And I think if you were to poll the populace there, I don't think most Hawaiians, native or otherwise, see cannabis as a major issue in those islands. Saman, you touched on the ice or the speed issue that plagues not just this island, but a lot of the other islands, from Tonga and Fiji. And so there are real issues there. And the fact that they're dickering and bickering and messing around versus just being laser focused on the rebuilding is a challenge. And then this notion of line iteming where the taxes go, it feels like it is replicating the mistakes that we've seen in other markets that end up supporting the unregulated market because of the burdensome tax structure. And the notion that you could criminalize people for not putting cannabis in a childproof jar. Go to your liquor cabinet,
that was insane.
Because every bottle of vodka you have is a twist top or a cork, and then tell me that I should do a year in jail because my vodka isn't childproof.
That's so true. And what was the story about the caregiver that recently was they got raided, and I believe obviously they got all their stuff chopped down or whatever, but it was like a caregiver that was doing this and had patients just like any other medical system, right? And they came after that person and they shut them down. So it's like, it's a really interesting situation in Hawaii. I don't know what's going on. I want to hear more about this. I know we have some people in our chat that are natives and have their family that are natives of Hawaii and the land. So I want to hear more. We should just keep an eye on this High at 9.
I think that I find it ironic that the culture who invented the hang loose symbol, right? Don't have legal weed. What the fuck?
Right? So right. The Pakalolo, they got to free the plant. But on that, in essence of time, I'm gonna roll right into this final story, you guys. This is the last story of the day, and it's pretty short. and pretty cute. I hope you guys enjoy this. All right. Because a beer spray wielding store owner stops a marijuana thief, you guys. Chalk one up for the good guys. An attempted robbery at a pot shop in Washington State was stopped after a nearby business owner confronted the burglars and sprayed one of the suspects with bear spray, according to the Snohomish County Sheriff's Office. Deputies responded to a burglary at a marijuana shop in Everett around 3 a.m. on Monday, and surveillance video showed 3 Kias entering the parking lot of the shop. The driver of one of the vehicles attempted to break into the business by ramming into one of the sides of the shop, and according to officials, a man who works at a business behind a pot shop heard the disturbance and discovered the burglary in progress and used bear spray at least once on one of the suspects. The owner of the pot shop, Marijuana 99, told Fox 13 Seattle he also stays armed with bear spray and has had to use it before, but that was the first time his business had been slammed into during an attempted burglary. And deputies added that the vehicles involved in the attempted burglary are also believed to have been stolen, and no arrests have been made at this time, deputies said. But look at this video. Watch this.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you need so many guys to rob a place?
Well, because everyone only has 2 arms and 5 fingers, and you only can grab so much. You know, you don't ever remember back in the day, like Toys R Us, when they'd have those shopping sprees and people would just load up their carts. Basically, that's what.
Shop till you drop, bro.
Yeah,
Shop till you drop.
All of that.
Except when you get capped, you really drop.
There he goes.
Shop till you drop has a different meaning in cannabis.
Here he goes with the Kia.
I thought you said beer spray. Yeah, I thought you said beer spray.
No,
at the beginning.
Bear spray.
They
bear
spray
spray.
beer shit. These guys.
Bear spray messes people up.
Oh, it'll fuck you up. Yeah.
Yeah. Bear spray will screw you up, bro. And there's this video.
What are they doing over here?
It looks like they're trying to back in. It looks like they're trying to back in.
Musical cars.
Here.
This is why you get caught for doing stupid shit.
Exactly. This is. Oh man!
Hardly even hit it.
Watch. Here we go. Here we go. He's gonna ram it. Oh wait. Oh, there, here comes the guy. Oh,
I'm like 5 feet.
Here comes the bear spray. Here comes the bear spray.
Get some speed. Get some speed behind you.
Maybe not. Oh.
Come on, bro, ram that shit and drive, not reverse, and drive.
Turn this shit around.
No, come on.
I mean, I think he may be worried he's gonna hit his
trunk.
Friends.
Won't open. Now.
Oh, I got it. It was.
Oh, they were backing in. Okay.
Is that a Subaru?
No, they're Kias. They're Kias.
Oh, it's a Kia. Yeah. Nice. It has nice.
Kia is the easiest vehicle to steal.
These guys.
So they probably stole someone's vehicle and used it as a battering ram.
Yeah, Adam, can you
That's
put,
it?
can you
They're
put on
gone?
this? Can you
was that?
Can you put on the
That
screen?
was it?
Can you put on the screen the picture of the guy with the bear spray?
These guys are the biggest bunch of wussies I've ever seen in my life.
Keystone
I
Cop.
mean, they're definitely not the professional band of roving marauders that we see.
Wow, look at that
more
damage.
frequently in California. This looks like the Keystone Cops or the
Look,
three.
you see him? You see him
combined.
spray?
Look at that.
You see him spray? Oh, play that
Nah.
again. Oh, bro, it's right.
Yeah,
happens right
right
here
there.
in the bottom. See,
Oh.
boom. Look at that bear spray. Boom, right in the eyes. Mm-hmm. Look.
That dude's pissed right now.
Oh, bro.
Yeah, that's not my definition of foreplay.
Oh,
That dude's
boom.
pissed.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Right in the kisser. Right
That's
in
a
the
bad
kisser,
day.
you
That's a
guys.
bad day
Yeah.
right there. You get shot in the cornea. With some
Not having
bear
a good
spray.
day.
Yes.
That's right.
I'd
When they
much
talk
rather
about
get hit with beer
sensation-
spray, to be honest.
Right,
I'd
I
much
know.
rather get-
I didn't understand that.
Yeah.
When they talk about a burning sensation, it's never a good thing.
Oh man. And on
Where was this? This was in Washington,
In
not
Washington.
Vegas.
No,
I was going to say
Washington.
leaving Vegas with a burning sensation.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You know, speaking
Whole different
of
burning
burning
sensation.
sensations, we want to wish you all a lovely day. Thank you all for tuning in to High at 9 News. It is America's #1 daily cannabis news show. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Thank you to Adam with his feathered hair out there. And on this, I don't usually do the closing. I'll let Rico do that, but I'm gonna do it how Rico would do it. And Mr. Todd Denkin, please give the people something to work on for the rest of the day.
Okay. Well, what I would say is keep tuning into High at 9 because we take this shit seriously. if know somebody who's not watching, get them watching.
There we go.
Love everybody. And also to make sure you keep making weed great again.
That's right.
And vote Democrat.
And
what I'm saying.
And wear red hats.
Wear red hats.
Wear red.
Come see Profit Brands in Modesto, California this Friday, January 19th at Fino's in Modesto. Profit Brand launch. Please be there. Come see us.
It's from 3 to 7.
From 3 to 7, but you can get there earlier. The first 75 people in line are going to get free gear, free VIP bags. The first 10 people in that line are going to get a very special gift. I'm going to spoil it here.
It's going to be a signed copy of the book,
because I think you'll need to know. Exactly. Signed copy of the book. Get in the line early. Come support us. Come hear the story. Come share this this momentous occasion with us.
So Saman, in addition to all of the other reasons that you articulated for why to be there and to support this amazing brand from a legacy and justice involved founder, there is word on the street that you are setting up a kissing booth and that you're going to be kissing the first 100 people. Is that also true?
Yarrow, you haven't sent me back your contract to be the official kisser, so I don't know if we're gonna do that. But if you want to come see Yarrow, if you want to come see Yarrow,
let me tell you. Let me tell you.
I'm not good. I kiss like Jabba the Hutt, and I never brush my teeth. I think it's better for you.
Yarrow, no. If Saman had a booth there, we would be having the longest blunt roll booth, and we would have people come up in time and see how long it actually takes Saman to roll a blunt.
Right. You know what? We should actually do a Guinness Book of World Records thing for that.
In fact,
we have to time you though. We have to time you with a calendar.
Exactly.
Okay.
After the 4-hour and 20-minute blunt in Vegas, Saman is going to try to exceed his production time record and make it a 48-hour Red Bull infused
guys. I'm going full on. Guys. I'm going only off of the piff, and that's it. But this doesn't need any gimmicks. Profit has a great story. Come here, come see us.
We'll see you on Friday in Modesto.
Peace and love, everybody.